It's a fascinating Friday evening here in the city of Lagos. Hello and welcome to a fresh edition of Game On, coming to you live from the studios of News Central Television. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Thank you so much again for joining us as we bring you all the latest breaking sports news and, of course, give you a preview of everything to come this weekend. Once again, welcome to the show. Don't forget, we're right here on DSTV channel 422. We are also streaming live on YouTube and can also join us on our social media handles. That's X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. We are everywhere you want to be. Welcome once again. I'm not in the studio alone. I have two great guys who will be joining me as well. First, to my extreme right is Adebari, who always brings very interesting insights into everything that we're discussing. Thank you very much for joining us again. What are you most looking forward to this weekend?
This weekend, I mean, there are a lot of good games coming up this weekend, but I think I have to pay attention to the title race in the Premier League. I think it's really, really heating up. But then the NPFL as well, so many juicy fixtures to look forward to. So I'm torn in between. So maybe both the NPFL and the EPL.
Okay, so that's definitely Okwe's unique take on what to look forward to the weekend. He's looking forward to the title race in the English Premier League. Joining us now, making his debut on the show, is one of my good friends and a seasoned sports journalist. He also has a bit of a controversial take on a lot of issues as well. A small man with big opinions, I like to call him. Alakpo Meji, someone likes to call him as well. I'm talking about Wale Adigun. Wale, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. This is the first time you and I are actually on the same platform together.
Oh, yeah.
History in the making.
Oh, yeah, it's history.
Don't be fooled by the gentle demeanor. There's nothing gentle about Wale.
I'm not a gentle guy.
No, I'm not gentle. But Wale, what are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Man, it's a whole lot. Bahrain, Formula One.
Yeah.
So that and the undertones of Christian Horn as well. So that sets the tone. I'm looking forward to football, the Manchester Derby as well. From the NPFL, not this weekend, but what this weekend has in tone for next weekend. Remo Stars play, Sporting Lagos play, and next week is Sporting Lagos, Remo Stars. So both of them want to be in good mood for next week. So this weekend can be crucial as well for both sides. So.
I totally agree. There's plenty of good games to look forward to in the Nigeria Professional Football League this weekend. But let's start on a very, very interesting note. Everyone knew that this was coming at some point. Something had to give. Would he stay? Would he go? Would his contract be extended? Was he going to join the Algerian national team? All that was put to rest yesterday when Algeria announced the hiring of Vladimir Petkovic, former coach of the Swiss national team, and Girondin Bordeaux as their new manager. But it has now been confirmed that the Nigeria Football Federation have parted ways with José Peseiro after 22 months in charge of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, barely weeks after leading them to the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. It was a decision that had to be made, but it's very clear now that José Peseiro will no longer be manager of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Okay, let me start with you. You've been here over the last few weeks alongside our good friend Mayuku. He was very adamant about the fact that he didn't want José Peseiro to go, to stay. I think you were in the same line, you were in total agreement as well. So is this good news as far as you're concerned?
As far as I'm concerned, it's good news, in my own opinion. You know, I shared with you much earlier when Ahrcourt was going on. I remember you telling me that maybe my opinions were a bit harsh, but I'll remind you again and I'll stand by it and say, look, he wasn't the best of coaches, tactically speaking, right? And for me, when you take a look at the way Ahrcourt went as well, he didn't really manage the squad well, in my own opinion. And then you can see the aftermath now with players like Trust Ekong, Obayiuwana, and Zaidu Sanusi getting lengthy injuries because they got those injuries while Ahrcourt was going on. So, in my own opinion, fine, he has got now, but then the question is, what next? I think we need a serious plan, and the plan is to go in motion immediately with a long-term plan with a view to the World Cup, and then a short-term plan with Ahrcourt 2025 coming up. So the NFF needs to think fast and to act fast, and we're looking forward to who's going to be the next coach.
Wale, I've never heard your take regarding José Peseiro, but looking at his scorecard, we're going to show that to you right on the screen now. 22 games in charge of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, 10 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses. Pretty much with a 45% win ratio. It doesn't seem bad on paper. He was given, but what we heard, was given the mandate to get to the semi-finals of the Africa Cup of Nations. He did and exceeded that.
Yep.
So, by all indices, you would think that he should be allowed to stay.
Yeah, I think that Nigerians, including very ungrateful people. I mean, this guy has gone there, done the job. He talked about how he felt he was not tactically savvy.
Yeah.
But his tactical solution in the AFCON helped us get to the final.
Remember, we started AFCON with 4-3-3, and it didn't work out against Equatorial Guinea. And he started out with the team, 3 at the back, second game, and we found solidity. Maybe it was more of substance over style, but it got us to the final. And I thought the final was just a bad game, was just a bad day in the office. I think playing Nigeria Ivory Coast again on another day, and I think we'll probably win. Because we beat them in the group stages. We beat them with that tactical system from José Peseiro.
Which is what people like Koiki are saying that, look, maybe at that point, maybe you should have switched it up. Just giving them something, a different kind of problem to solve.
There's the popular maxim: if you ain't broke, you don't fix it. And it wasn't broke from when we switched to 3 at the back. So I was in full support when we got to the final, that it was going to be 3 at the back. And maybe the occasion got to these players. And trust me, my thoughts on the final are very simple. The players disappointed José Peseiro. None of them turned up. None of those players turned up in the final. But see, it's all come and gone. Let's move on. But I think that the proper thing will have been, see, if you don't have a replacement in mind, keep this guy. Because
what makes you think we don't have a replacement in mind?
Because we haven't announced one. We haven't announced one. Or we haven't even told managers to send their CVs in.
Well, I mean, that's what you think. I mean, the NFF might beg to differ and say that, look, we've already scouted, we have someone in mind, we've been receiving CVs.
The guy was supposed to be like heir apparent, supposedly was Tom Senfit, and he's now taking the Philippines job from the Gambia. So you ask yourself, what do we have right now? Nothing. Except want to look inwards. And that's a discussion for another day.
And that's José Peseiro's statement on Twitter today. That's formerly our X, formerly known as Twitter. I said, yesterday we concluded our contract with the Nigeria Football Federation. It was a pride and honor to coach the Super Eagles. It's been 22 months of immense dedication, sacrifice, emotion, and enormous enthusiasm. We feel a sense of fulfillment. We would like to express our gratitude to Sir Amaju Pinnick, the president, who signed us, President Ibrahim Guzo, General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi, Secretary Dayo Enebi at the NFF, all the staff, and especially all the players in capital letters with whom leading has been a great pleasure. And that's just the concluding part of this particular statement. He was also thanking everyone, fans as well, saying that he would be, that Nigeria will forever be in his heart. So one word from José Peseiro, who felt that his CV has been enriched tremendously. But joining us now in Lagos is international football journalist, very well-respected football journalist and broadcaster, and an expert on Nigerian and African football. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Osasu Obayiuwana to Game On. Thank you very much for joining us, Osasu. And I'm sure you, like everyone, expected this news. But going by what we've seen so far, would you say that the Nigeria Football Federation has been unfair to José Peseiro?
Good evening, Tunde. I don't know the dynamics that led to the decision. So is it a question of the NFF not wanting him, or is it a question of José Peseiro not wanting to continue? I have to look into this in the coming days to find out what really went on. But I have to say that if a manager is taking Nigeria to its first African Cup of Nations final in 11 years, and you decide to part ways with that manager within 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks after that final, or just over 2 weeks, it's a bit odd. I do understand that José Peseiro's style is not the swashbuckling style that one would verve with panache, with polish, with that level of entertaining football that Nigerians want to see. I understand that. Nigerians are not used to this type of football, and it's difficult for most Nigerians to see a Nigerian team playing catenaccio football, because that's what they played at the African Cup of Nations. They played catenaccio football from the beginning to the end. But even though I am not particularly a fan of catenaccio football, but one has to say
it was effective, right? Osasu, you must admit it was effective for a team that was shipping in goals plenty, a team that couldn't beat the likes of Lesotho and Zimbabwe, a team that lost to Guinea in a pre-AFCON friendly, a team that the vast majority of fans were unanimous in believing that they wouldn't go far. You must agree that it was effective and he performed beyond expectations.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you at all that it was effective. Like I said, the main issue that Nigerians have with the style is that it's culturally one that they don't like or accept. But my argument is that in football, when you go to a tournament, what is the mission of the manager? The mission of the manager at a tournament is to win by any means necessary. That's the mission of any manager at a tournament. If you play 7 matches and you win each and one of them 1-0, you win a title. I was just going to say something before you interjected, that people complain about the style, but the style produced the results. That's the long and short of it. And the only reason, in my opinion, why we didn't win the tournament is because in the middle of the field, we didn't have the quality of players to reduce the pressure on the defense. If you're playing catenaccio football, defensive-based football, you also need to have a quality of midfield that can also put a little bit of pressure on the opponent in order to reduce the amount of pressure that the opponent is putting on the defense. When you don't have a midfield, I mean, when Rashidi Yekini was banging in those goals that made him Nigeria's all-time top striker, look at the kind of players he had to give him service. You had Sunday Olise as a defensive midfielder giving him the service. You had the genius of JJ Okocha. You had the genius of JJ Okocha in the midfield giving him the service. You also have Finidi George, who in his day was probably the best crosser of the ball in world football when he was a footballer. These were the kind of players that were giving Rashidi Yekini and Daniela Mokachi the service. We had the best striker in Africa in our team, but we didn't have the midfield to support him. Yes, I agree that Osimhen missed chances that he created. But the problem was he was always falling so deep into midfield to pick up balls that he couldn't play his primary role as a predator. Predator needs to have prey to feed on. And in order to have that prey, the midfield needs to create that prey. As I said a few days ago, when you saw how he started scoring again for Napoli against Barcelona in the Champions League. You've seen this
also against Sassuolo
in Serie A. Once you give the Nigerian attack, this current Nigerian attack, if we have the right quality of midfield to support them, then I have no doubt in my mind that Osimhen can surpass the goal record of Rashidi Yekini. But he's got to have the midfield support.
I agree, Osasu.
He doesn't have it.
I totally agree. But let's move on now. And I really want to ask this question because it's something that you have tracked for quite a while. Are we in the same situation that we were in when we fired Gernot Rohr? FIFA World Cup qualifiers coming up in June. A coach needs to get in as quickly as possible, bed down, understand his players, and get results against South Africa and Benin Republic. Did the Nigerian Football Federation pull this trigger too late? Is this self-sabotage, as it were?
Well, I would say this is not a good time to change manager. It really isn't. Because if you're changing a manager now, we're at the beginning of March. You have World Cup qualifiers in about 90 days from now. I don't know if you look at the international match calendar, can you tell me how many games the Super Eagles will have before the World Cup qualifiers in June?
Well, there was supposed to be a friendly against Argentina. Has been cancelled now.
Yeah, so we're basically saying that there will be no game for Nigeria before the World Cup qualifiers in June, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you can imagine how this looks. It looks really bad that the manager will take over with no games, with no preparation. I remember in June last year, July last year, July, because his initial contract was to run till the end of July because the AFCON was supposed to be played between June and July initially. And when that contract ran out, I said to officials in the Nigerian football, I said, look, if you're going to change this guy, if you're going to make a major change, you need to do it now. Because at least if you change him now, at least he would have at least 6 months before an AFCON, and there will be games for him to play, and he would have a bit of time to get himself into the groove of the team. Well, they decided that he was going to stay on till the end of February. Now, he's taken you to an AFCON final, and yet the relationship has ended. It's not a good look. For Nigeria to be looking for its fourth Super Eagles manager in less than 3 years, it's quite bad, I have to say.
I agree, Osasu. But finally, before we let you go, there's been talk about the fact that this Nigeria Football Federation is looking towards a Nigerian to handle the Super Eagles of Nigeria. There's been names have been thrown up, likes of George Finidi, who was assistant to José Peseiro. We've also heard that Samson Siasia, who was banned in 2019 by FIFA, his ban finishes in August, that he would like to throw his hat into the ring as well as this man, former Africa Footballer of the Year, winner of a FIFA Under-17 World Cup, and also an AFCON winner as well, former coach of Tanzania. I'm talking about Emmanuel Amunike. Do you think this is the way forward, that any of these men would be capable of taking on the mantle, or should we go for another foreign coach?
Well, we saw what happened during the AFCON. Ivory Coast decided to fire their coach Jean-Louis Gasset after just as the first round was almost ending, when they thought that the team was going to go out, and they handed it over to MS5. And he ended up winning the whole thing. So football can be very funny like that. That said, if you hand over the team to a Nigerian coach now, are they going to give him the time? You see, you're putting a new coach in, and then you're putting him under pressure. Pressure that the NFF is creating by not taking decisions at the right time. I don't know if it is true that Augustin Eguavoen has taken over the team, because I've not seen any official statement.
We've not seen any official release from the Football Federation.
A statement from the NFF to confirm that. But it just doesn't. I mean, if you give a coach, what nationality the coach is, I just think you are putting him in such an impossible position that he can't do anything with the team until the World Cup qualifiers start in June. It doesn't make sense to be in this situation, and I don't envy any coach who is going to take over the job, because Nigerians have already lost out on going to the World Cup in Qatar, and nobody would want to be in the unenviable position of not qualifying for a second World Cup in succession. The team is already in a very difficult position in the group because of its poor performance in the first two games against Lesotho and Zimbabwe. And now you are going to have a situation where a coach can't have the players until a few days before the World Cup qualifier in June. So I really don't know what to tell you, Babatunde. I mean, about whether the coach is Nigerian, foreign, is not even the issue now. Because even if you hand this to a Nigerian coach, there's no magic he's going to do if you don't give him the right environment to perform. You need to give him time. He needs to plan.
Okay.
He needs to prepare the team in the way he wants. He needs to pick players that he wants, and he can't experiment. He can't tinker with the team.
And he also needs friendly matches to also prepare the team as well, which currently the Nigeria Football Federation have not provided. But I understand you completely, Osasu. You painted a particularly bleak picture, but I can agree with you that...
No, I've not painted any picture. I'm just describing it the way it is. It's not about me trying to paint a scenario. The scenario that I'm describing is the way it is.
Yes, and I totally agree with you.
So those who are responsible for Nigerian football need to appreciate the seriousness of the situation the team is now in.
Okay. Thank you very much, Osasu Obayiuwana, international football expert, broadcaster, and journalist extraordinary. Thank you so much for your time and for your submissions.
Well, have a good evening and enjoy the rest of your show.
Thank you. Well, guys, you've heard Osasu Obayiuwana speak quite clearly and quite forthrightly, in my opinion. It's a poison chalice. Anybody who takes this job now is under tremendous pressure. He has no friendly games to which to prepare. He basically has to start building the team from scratch. How does he stamp his own playing style, his own formation, his own mentality on the team without any of these friendly games? What kind of support will he receive from the players, from the federation? He has World Cup qualifiers coming up in June. It's a difficult task for anybody, irrespective of their nationality.
Definitely it is. And then when you take a look at the peculiarities involved in the situation now, you think to yourself, okay, we have important qualifiers coming up. How are we prepared for this? What's going to happen? So I think it's left to the NFF. I think it would make sense if they probably stuck with Eguavon, who has also been there in an interim position before. If you go to Finidi George, he hasn't had previous experience as a lone coach, as a head coach in that aspect. So it might just be a good opinion, maybe just to stick to the safe side and see what happens.
Wale, we've talked about 3 possible candidates. Yeah. We've talked about Finidi George, Emmanuel Amunike, and of course...
please rule out Samson Siasa.
Why? He's been there before. He's capable.
It's rusty, please. Samson Siasa has not been a job since I was born.
Oh gosh, 2019.
No. Yeah, but it's been a long time, basically. You know? So I think let's rule out Samson Siasa and let's be serious for once here. I like the look of Amunike. He's well-traveled, but honestly, I think I also get a manager that can hit the ground running. All this, he doesn't have friendly matches. Look, Gasset left and this guy came, MS5.
Yeah, but that was right smack in the middle of the tournament, so he had matches to play in another few days. So why can't we bring a manager who can hit the ground running and get these boys playing and playing some good football? Some will say that is wishful thinking anyway, but we'll see how that pans out. But definitely, the Nigeria Football Federation have a big task on their hands. They have to appoint a coach as quickly as possible, support him as well as they can to ensure that we win those upcoming friendly World Cup qualifiers in June against South Africa and Benin. Moving on very quickly, in case you did not know, the World Athletics Indoor Championships currently going on in Glasgow, and Nigeria is participating. Some of the big names that you are used to, the likes of Ese Brume and of course Tobi Amuson, are not there. But Nigeria didn't actually do too bad in day one of the action. And joining us now all the way from Glasgow is our good friend, country manager for Making of Champions, athletics expert as well, Deji Ogeyingbo. Deji, are you there, Deji? Thank you so much for joining us on Game On tonight. It seems that we're having network challenges with DG Ogeyingbo. Well, in case you didn't know, Nigeria was in action today. Dubem Nwachukwu finished second in the third heat of the men's 400 meters to qualify for the semi-final. Some good performance. And as far as Africa is also concerned, Kenya's Ferdinand Omanyala and Cameroon's Emmanuel Eseme also both through to the men's 60-meter semi-finals as well. They were in excellent form. Look, that's Omanyala there, clocking 6.52 seconds behind the world leader Christian Coleman of the United States of America. And of course, that's Emmanuel Eseme as well, also doing not too badly, 6.54 as well, is a new national record in the 60 meters as well. So guys, yes, good preparation for Nigeria in terms of Dubem Nwachukwu, who competed in the 400 meters. But like Deji told us yesterday, most of these athletes are pretty much focused on the African Games and the Olympics as well, that the indoors is not really a specialty. So we shouldn't read too much into this.
Definitely. And knowing the fact that most athletes who are going to represent us at the Olympics would get their qualification from the African Games does make sense. So you might not see so many athletes going all the way out to try and get PBs, but you would but definitely you will see them putting in good performances with an eye on the African Games.
Okay. Yeah, Wale, you have your own thoughts as well?
Yeah.
Like Tobi Amuson skipping this. Ese Brume couldn't make it because of visa issues, passport issues?
Yeah, basically, I'm happy that for the first time, looks like an African competition takes precedence over an international competition or a big competition, because these athletes have said, hey, we want to come to the African Games in Accra, in Ghana, and let's do it for our country, let's do it for the continent, and big places for. And guess what? The Paris Olympics is just a couple of months away. So, and with the indoor games, you can't really gauge your performance indoor.
Yeah, true.
Basically.
Yeah.
So
it's really a winter sport.
yeah,
Yeah,
so you can understand the skepticism with the indoor games. If it was probably the world champs itself, trust me, these athletes are definitely going in there. So I can understand it.
Well, that's a quick update from the ongoing World Indoor Championships going on in Glasgow in the United Kingdom. Hopefully, Nigeria, we're not expecting anything from Nigeria in terms of this. Even Chukwuebuka Enekwechi and the men's shot put to set an African records a few weeks ago. He's also not expected to do pretty well. His focus will most likely be on the African Games, where he'll be hoping to win an African title again. We'll still try and get in touch with Deji Ogenyigbo. Deji, can you hear me? Hello, Deji. Well, it seems we can't get Deji, but let's take a short break now. We're back with the rest of the show here on Game On. Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching Game On here on News Central Television. It's time to progress on the show now and talk Nigerian football. Matches will be played in the Nigerian professional football this weekend and on Monday. Some really, really good games to look forward to. Let's quickly give you the fixtures of the matches that you can be expecting to see in the Nigerian professional football this weekend. On Saturday, it's Kwara United hosting, well, they were supposed to host Rivers United, but that match has been postponed because Rivers United will be competing in the CAF Confederations Cup. But Remo Stars will be taking on Bayelsa United in a really good game in Remo. I'll be looking forward to that as well. On Sunday, matches will be plenty. Gombe United hosting Shooting Stars. Heartland of Owerri, who are rock bottom, they'll also be hosting Sunshine Stars. Katsina United will be guests of Lobby Stars. Kano Pillars will entertain Abia Warriors. Don't forget, Kano Pillars are being led by the ageless Rabiu Ali. He's 43, 44, 45. I can't remember. Possibly. Niger Tornadoes will also be taking on Enugu Rangers, while it's Plateau United versus Bendel Insurance. A lot of attention will be placed on the post-match media conference after that one for obvious reasons. Then on Monday, it's Doma United hosting Sporting Lagos, while it's Akwa United versus Eyimba of Aba. Akwa United are not having the best of seasons right now. Let's quickly show you the MPFL top 6 as it currently stands. The teams that are fighting for a chance to either win the league or go to the continent. The top 6 teams in the MPFL. There you see them. Lobby Stars leading the pack with 39 points, followed by Plateau United with 38. Plateau United, of course, coming off that wonderful away win in Oka, where they smashed Heartland by 5-1. Rangers in 3rd place with 37 points, while Remo Stars up in 4th place with 36 points. Although they have a match in hand, Kano Pillars and Enyimba still in the mix in 5th and 6th position, respectively. Bottom 6 now of the log, the teams that are propping up the table. It's Heartland there, not looking good for them as well. A -10 goal difference, just 18 points, followed by Gombe United with 21 points. Akwa United also with 21 points. Niger Tornadoes in that bottom 4 with 24 points. Kwara United and Sunshine Stars just above the drop zone as well. So it's going to be a really, really tough game for these teams this weekend. But before we progress on the show, let's quickly tell you that the MPFL board, the MPFL board on Friday issued a practice directive to clubs reminding them of existing protocols for post-match media engagements by their technical heads. The memo also touched on the need for decorum in the conduct of the media and by the media and coaches, noting that beyond the mandatory participation is the decorum expected at all times from coaches and also journalists. While club media officers must organize and moderate the post-match interactions, they must also protect the coaches by disallowing provocative questions. To forestall situations of rancor between the media and the coaches, and clubs have been admonished to provide professional guidance for their coaches as well on how to comport themselves during post-match engagements with the media. Guys, this particular directive by the MPFL was a long time coming. I must confess, most of the coaches in the Nigeria Professional Football League are quite personable, quite approachable, but there have been issues where some of the coaches seem to have gone overboard in line of how they comport themselves. They've claimed that they've been unfairly singled out, unfairly targeted. And we must state that Monday Odige has claimed that the line of questioning that he has received by journalists has been a bit not to his liking. I'm talking about Monday Odige, coach of Benden Insurance.
But this didn't mention Monday Odige.
No, he didn't.
Your producer deserves a raise. You know why? Because while you were reading that, he was projecting Monday Odige. There's no Monday Odige.
No, they did not mention Monday Odige. But is it true to say that journalists engage in provocative questioning?
Well, I wouldn't say provocative questioning per se, but then I'll just remind all of us that, look, coaches are humans as well.
True.
And then when they've gone through such a grueling encounter with their teams, the kind of questions you put to them can trigger one or two emotions. And then they then show you that, indeed, they are humans and they cannot necessarily be robotic. However, all of us do need to conduct ourselves in a professional manner.
Wale, is it true that coaches need media training?
Of course.
Okay.
Even players need media training.
Fantastic.
You look at the Premier League, not about the Premier League, even tennis players, the way they address the media, you know that they have media training. And that is one thing I've always been advocating for. Even in the league, that players, managers need to be tutored on how to speak to the media. But we've not done a lot of that. Now, talk about provocative questions. I've seen a Monday Odige video over time. And I don't think the questions the media asked was provocative.
In your opinion?
They only asked him.
In your opinion?
No, in my opinion, they asked him, can you analyze the game? Can you project the game? What did you make of the game? Oh, this was a big game. And he said, hey, it wasn't a big... See, all of that is all bygone. But trust me, I'm also on Monday Odige's side. I don't know if you see my post on X a couple of days ago. He's an endangered species that you have to preserve.
Yeah, true.
You know why? Because he's content. This is what we want to see in the NPFL, but there has to be balance, right? But you ask me, is there any entertainment value in the league right now? The answer is no. But this guy has ensured that those who don't even know about the NPFL in the last couple of days...
I disagrry. Well, I think I've been... We've seen goals scored from corner kicks. We've seen 5-goal thrillers.
The last viral moment the NPFL had was way back 2017. Olatubosun.
Olatubosun's excellent.
We have not had any since then. But this guy, in a couple of video rants, has taken us viral.
For the right reasons or wrong reasons?
This is right.
That's a plot twist.
I'm going to ask you, Tunde, okay, what he has done, has he crossed the line? Jose Mourinho has done this over time. True. A younger version of Jurgen Klopp has done this over time.
True.
Yeah, so why don't we want this? I understand there has to be balance. But I think in what he has done, he hasn't crossed the line.
Okay.
Encourage him.
We should encourage him. Wow. Encourage him. Those are the words of Wale Adigun. I'm not sure I agree, but I do believe that there has to be balance. I agree with the gentleman here. There has to be balance. Journalists must also comport themselves well, while coaches too must also try not to take many of these questioning personally. Let's move on and tell you that there will be matches played in the CAF Confederations Cup as well. Nigeria's sole team in the CAF Confederations Cup is Rivers United. They will be hosting Dreams of Ghana. Hopefully, they'll be giving Dreams some nightmares in Port Harcourt. Well, it's USM Alger versus Super Sports United, Zamalek versus SOA of Guinea, Dabulnoa of Congo versus Sekokune United of South Africa, Modern Future of Egypt facing Al Hilal Omdurman, Rivers United facing Dreams, like we said, Club African entertaining Academica do Lobito of Angola, Sagrada Esperanza, another Angolan club also hosting Abu Salim of Libya, while it's RSB Berkane of Morocco taking on Stade Malien. Well, joining us now all the way from Port Harcourt is Charles Mayuku. He's the media officer of Rivers United. Charles, thank you so much for joining us today. How is Rivers United? How are you guys prepared to give Dreams a proper Nigerian welcome?
Well, first and foremost, let me greet you like we do here in Akwa Ibom. Moikomo. It means I'm greeting.
I don't know what that means, but I'll take it anyway.
Yeah, learning the language as we're used to you. And also, good evening to your guests in the studio. You have a full house, veterans who are making their names and also making their money. But as far as the Rivers United camp is concerned, we're in high spirits. The team came into Uyo on Thursday, and we had a training session at the practice pitch of the Gospel Akpabio Stadium. Today, we had our official training session in the main bowl of that facility, and I can tell you for free, that stadium is ready for total football come 5 p.m. on Sunday.
Well, Charles, Rivers United had an excellent result in their last game, going away to Angola, beating Academica de Lobito by 3-2. Yes, they are a team that are currently bottom of that group. They haven't won a single game, either home or away. But you must confess, it was a heartwarming result, and it has put Rivers United back into the fray for possibly qualifying for the knockout phase. How key was that result in your team's title aspirations this season?
Well, going into that game, we had an objective to win 3-0. And that's what we went to Angola, the intention we had. And it seemed to have worked to an extent. Yes, we committed a mistake in the beginning, considering that penalty. Many will say a bit soft, but, these referees at this stage, you cannot, fault them. And it was a call. We had to pull back. We got an equalizer. We went 2 goals up just after the start of the second half. Farouk Mohammed getting that third. And then everything seemed to have worked in line as we pushed to get more goals. Because knowing that apart from the head-to-head rule, it might still boil down to goals. All three teams most likely will end with with the same points, 12 points. And so it will boil down to, the head-to-head record first against the Dream. We lost in Accra 2-1. And then we had to come back late in that game to get to, have a chance as far as the second leg is concerned. What you see on your screens, not what we want to see when we get to play here in Uyo, because one goal could just be what could knock us out of the competition if we're not able to get the desired result.
Well, it's been a really good, it's almost it's an indifferent campaign for Rivers United this season in the CAF Confederations Cup. But I'm sure you still have aspirations to also win the Nigeria Professional Football League, as well as also make your name on the continent. How difficult has it been balancing, competing favorably in the league, as well as also your continental aspirations?
Well, I think even your guests in the studio will agree with me. One sacrifice that teams that get to play on the continent will have to make is the fact that there will be so many games coming in within a very short period of time. I hope in the future, even as our league continues to grow, we'll have situations where we can marry competitions like this, especially when the teams representing the country go far in the CAF interclub competitions. Rivers United had to play a series of games in the league back to back. At one point, we had to go to Lagos. The game did not hold. We had to go to Remo. It did not hold. We went to Ibadan. And while we were preparing to come back to Port Harcourt, we were asked to go back to Lagos to play. And within a short period of time, that has not also helped. Again, Rivers United, we tried to manage the squad to the best we can, knowing you have to manage the stress on the road, you have to manage injuries, you have to manage suspensions, all of that. But again, we have our mindset for Sunday's game. The NPFL title is still within reach as far as the competition is concerned. 3 outstanding games already on the table for Rivers United after we get to play on Sunday. And we hope that we qualify. That is the dream of Nigerians at this point in time. And we can now begin to talk about the NPFL, even as the competition in CAF will also continue for the team.
All right, Charles, although I don't think the NPFL title is practicable anyways, but I wanted to ask you about the future of Stanley Aguma. I mean, is he still manager of the side? What's happening? We hear he's been on suspension or whatever, but can you give us some clarity tonight on the fact that will he be in charge of Rivers United for the game against Dreams FC this weekend?
Well, we've had a lot of rumors with hearsay. At one point on match day, far away in Angola, we had we saw another story, and just like you read or we saw on your news bulletin, talking about the circular from the board of the Nigerian Premier Football League about decorum, and of course, when it has to even do with the press. Some of these stories, you begin to ask yourself, why on match day do we get almost all the time when Nigerian teams, not just the national team, even the local teams, when we get to play in competitions, you get this kind of distraction. The management of the team had said, okay, coach, you need to take care of your health. You need to take care of other family issues. We are giving you a break. And shortly after this game, for the period that he was given, after the game in Dreams, he will be back. He's still very much in contact with the team. He's still very much in touch with the chief coach, Coach Evans, also with the management of the team. So all that issues, we see them as distractions, and we are focused on the game on Sunday.
Okay. Well, Charles Mayuku, media officer of Rivers United, we wish you all the very best tomorrow against Dreams. I hope that you can give our Ghanaian visitors a warm Nigerian welcome and also send them packing with a 3-0 nightmare back to Accra. Thank you very much, Charles, for joining us.
Well, thank you very much. But before I go, I want to make a request.
Okay.
You guys are all suit up. I would like the glasses of my brother there. But I beg, this is your brand suit.
Okay, no problem.
You get it if you win 3-0.
Okay, exactly. That's the deal. That's the deal.
You win 3-0.
I'll send it well packaged.
That's the target. We will qualify. That's the target.
No problem. Thank you very much, Charles, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.